Our attention on the sky tonight, much of the Tennessee Valley on tornado watch. And we do have a look above from earlier today. Gloomy sky, rain to set the scene, all of that contributing to what we have going on right now, which Fox 54's weather impact meteorologist Emily Owen is going to tell us where we stand on her radar. Emily, what do we have now?
Well, right now we're just going to continue to watch as we've got a line of rain and storms moving through the Tennessee Valley, but I'll show you that in just a minute. I want to talk about the tornado watch that we've got in effect until 9 o'clock this evening. This is for mainly areas along and west of I-65. So Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin counties, Limestone, Lawrence counties, Madison, Morgan, and Coleman counties are the only counties that we've got right now throughout the Tennessee Valley that is under this tornado watch. So here's that line of rain and storms that we're tracking for you right here. We're really watching Lauderdale and Colbert counties the most. They've got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. This is going to be until about 6:30. We're really watching for damaging wind gusts and a little bit of hail embedded within that particular storm. But of course, as this continues to move eastward, we're going to track it and make sure that we keep our eyes really close on these storms that are going to be moving through. So coming up later on in the show, I'm going to go into depth about what we could expect to see heading into the next couple of hours, and I'll time it out for you hour by hour. Kanisha.
Thank you, Emily. A major manufacturer over in Fort Payne is closing its doors 2 months after a warrant notice went out to plant employees announcing the shutdown. The impact, almost 500 people without jobs going into the new year. Plant employees and city leadership got the notice in late October, and since then there have been multiple job fairs for the affected employees before the plant's closure, which is on the 27th. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo takes us to Fort Payne to hear about how this closure will impact the community.
Renfro Brands is closing down its sock manufacturing plant later this month, laying off over 450 people right in the middle of the holidays. It's the last of the city's sock manufacturing industry, which started to decline back in 2008. Mayor Brian Bain says it's going to impact the local economy, but they've taken some steps to make sure the city stays afloat.
We have bounced back from that decline of the sock industry back in 2008. We're not where we need to be, but we have by far come to a place that we've diversified and been able to survive.
With that diversification, Mayor Bain says the city and the Economic Development Authority are working closely with the impacted workers to help them find new jobs.
They put some job fairs together, and they have had various meetings with some of those folks, trying to place them in other positions, because there are other industries here.
Mayor Bain adds that it's unfortunate, but it all comes down to finances.
At the end of the day, it's a business decision for them, and they just feel that they can do better, other places, and maybe they didn't have as many orders as what they needed, and this is where they saw the cut.
Renfro Brands is also looking to transfer some employees from the Fort Payne plant to Cleveland, Tennessee, where they're consolidating, planning to add up to 75 new positions. They said in a statement, current Fort Payne employees will receive priority consideration for new positions being created in Tennessee, adding this manufacturing consolidation will result in overall operations that are more efficient and more flexible. Renfro will maintain its presence with a warehouse and distribution center here in Fort Payne, where they'll retain around 50 employees. In Fort Payne, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
The Fort Payne Career Center, DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, and businesses in Fort Payne are also offering assistance to the employees that are being laid off. We've learned a shooting led to a multi-county police chase that ended in Scottsboro last night, authorities say. Two suspects, Carlos Clark and Jace Armstrong, both from Memphis, Tennessee, allegedly fired shots at a security guard at a business in the Providence area. The security guard returned fire, but the guard and Clark were shot. HPD says the suspects then fled the scene in a stolen Dodge Charger. The car eventually crashed on Highway 79 in Scottsboro, but Armstrong ran away. Both Armstrong and Clark were found and arrested. Both men face charges of assault, theft, and attempting to elude police. They're being held at the Madison County Jail, and according to Madison County Sheriff's Office, 19-year-old Clark could be tried as a juvenile, and no photos of him will be released. Huntsville City Council is meeting right now and is expected to vote on 3 annexation proposals that would add about 725 acres to the city. The largest would bring in nearly 687 acres. It's known as the Stevens property, located north of Little Cove Road and around Highway 72 East. Also up for final vote is a 37-acre annexation along Martin Road. If approved, the city will have expanded more than 3,000 acres and across 4 counties this year. City Council also set to consider an ordinance authorizing the disposal of this historic railroad car, as you can see, destroyed by a fire earlier this year. The cattle car at the historic Huntsville Depot was gutted by flames on April 28th and has been declared beyond repair. City documents say the car has no monetary value and is no longer needed for municipal use. The council expected to vote on the measure at tonight's meeting. Newly sworn-in NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman announced he will donate his entire government salary to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center Space Camp. Isaacman, now the 15th and youngest NASA Administrator, is a member of the Space and Rocket Center Hall of Fame. He says the donation aligns with his commitment to inspiring the next generation of explorers. The Rocket Center tells FOX54 it's grateful for the donation and says it will help transform the future of its camp program. The role typically brings in about $220,000 a year. A retired Tennessee police officer is suing his former department after being jailed over a Facebook post related to the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Larry Bushard claims he was unlawfully prosecuted and that his free speech was violated. Bushard was arrested after sharing a meme, the one you see on your screen, about a local vigil and spent 37 days in jail because he couldn't post a $2 million bond. The charges were later dropped, but his lawsuit names Perry County officials seeking monetary and punitive damages. Andrew Snead is running for Alabama's 5th district in the United States Congress, challenging Representative Dale Strong for his seat. Fox 54 sat down exclusively with the candidate this afternoon. The extension of Affordable Care Act subsidies was part of our conversation with the candidate. The U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill blocking those extensions just yesterday, impacting hundreds of thousands of Alabamians. But Snead says the vote was not a solution.
I used to be afraid to get sick because there was no protection for pre-existing conditions. That was no way to live. Nobody should have to live in fear. So, was it perfect? Is it perfect? It's probably not. So propose a solution. But no one has proposed a solution, certainly not the Republican Party. And what's passed yesterday is no kind of solution.
Snead also spoke about the focus he and other candidates want to place on balance of power and accountability. We'll have more on that later tonight. The Birmingham Stallions have announced a former lieutenant governor candidate and University of Alabama football player A.J. McCarron as its new head coach. The UFL president and CEO praised McCarron as part of Alabama's winning football tradition, saying he's a natural fit to lead the 3-time champions into a new era. McCarron led the University of Alabama to back-to-back national championships back in 2012 and 2013 and won the 2013 Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award. He later took his skills to the pros and played 9 seasons in the NFL and was named MVP of the XFL's St. Louis Battlehawks before retiring last year. University of Alabama System Board of Trustees has voted to reinstate standardized testing requirements for undergraduate admissions, ending a test-optional pilot system that started during the pandemic. Under this plan, students applying for the 2026-27 academic year may still apply without test scores, but campuses will set a minimum GPA requirement. Test score requirements will return during the 2027-28 academic year. A new report reveals Alabama has put more people to death this year than nearly every other state in the U.S. The Death Penalty Information Center published its annual report earlier this week, and Alabama went through with 5 executions this year, following 6 executions last year when the state led the nation. Alabama tied with South Carolina and Texas, while Florida led the nation with 19 executions this year alone. The report says there were 48 executions nationwide in 2025, nearly double last year. The report also shows public support for the death penalty continues to decrease, even as some states push to expand its use. President Trump signed an executive order changing how marijuana is classified under federal law. We'll tell you why critics are raising concerns next. Redstone Arsenal preparing for the man with the red hat. Details on how soldiers are tracking Santa. President Trump is easing federal restrictions on marijuana. He's lowered its legal classification, opening the door for more research opportunities. But as Fox 54's Rebecca Casser reports, there will still be some major restrictions on its recreational use.
I've always told my children, don't take drugs, no drinking, no smoking, and just stay away from drugs.
Although he's not a fan of the drug, President Trump signed an executive order Thursday to recognize marijuana as a less dangerous substance, reclassifying it from a Schedule I to Schedule III drug, the same category as Xanax and ketamine.
40 states allow medical use, and over 6 million Americans are legally using it under their physician's supervision.
The order doesn't legalize marijuana for recreational use at the federal level, but it will make it easier for experts to study the drug's potential benefits for seniors, veterans, and people with chronic pain.
Thank you, Mr. President, for supporting careful, science-based research that puts patients first.
It'll open up a whole new method of treatment for our veterans.
A group of House Republicans tried to convince President Trump not to sign the executive order. 26 signed onto a letter that says, reclassifying marijuana will send the wrong message to America's children, enable drug cartels, and make our roads more dangerous. The president acknowledged this move may be seen as controversial, but says the medical benefits can't be ignored.
So many people that I respect ask me to do it. People that are having problems, big problems.
A recent Gallup poll finds that 64% of Americans support legalizing marijuana. Again, this order doesn't do that, but it's a major step for medical research. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
The move stops short of federal legalization, but could open the door to new treatments for veterans, seniors, and people with chronic pain. Here in Alabama, the State Medical Cannabis Commission recently approved 3 dispensary licenses, moving a step closer to making medical marijuana available in the state, nearly 5 years after the legislature created the program. And free tree's a different type of tree, though, a giveaway that's bigger than adding more green to the scene. Details on the purpose behind planting them up ahead. And in the meantime, Emily, we're under a tornado watch.
Yep, that's exactly right. We're under a tornado watch across the Tennessee Valley, portions of, for this line of rain and thunderstorms that you see right behind me. I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know coming up right after the break. Stay with us.
Check this out. Residents in Decatur are turning over a new leaf today through a local tree giveaway. The Alabama Urban Forestry Association and volunteers handed out trees all morning in front of Ingalls Pavilion. The association provided a huge selection for people to choose from, a total of 500 trees. The executive director for AUFA says today's giveaway is part of a program they run to support the local environment.
We give trees out across the state. We have a program called Alabama Relief through the Alabama Urban Forestry Association, and we're giving out trees throughout the state to help with the tree canopy, helps with heat islands, global heat islands, helps reduces flooding, and purifies the air. Trees are just good things to plant.
Yes, useful for more reasons than one. And upon receiving their trees, the association gave recipients tips on how and where to replant the tree for the best chance at success. Christmas Day, 1 week from today, and the Missile Defense Agency over at Redstone Arsenal is looking to protect the big man on Christmas Eve. The agency gave FOX54 an inside look at its operations center as soldiers trained to get ready for the 24th to help NORAD track Santa. And for those concerned about safety, military officials tell us that even if Santa was accidentally fired upon, you don't have to worry about hitting him.
He flies way too fast from what I've seen in the past for any of the missiles to be able to catch him. And so I think they're safe the way he moves. No issues.
He's flying at Mach 3, so 650 miles a second. So he's rolling.
He's rolling, and they added that a lot of the work when it comes to tracking is done by the leading reindeer Rudolph, thanks to that bright red nose. And if you want to keep your eye on Santa's progress at home next week, track his journey around the world with our Santa Tracker, streaming on Christmas Eve on FOX54 Plus. Download for free and watch on your TV so you never miss a stop. And we're joined now by Carson, who was actually there during all of that.
Yeah, it's always been a process to get into the MDA building, but it was really fun to be there and kind of check out what the guys are going to be doing on Christmas Eve, and get to experience some of the simulations they were doing right before Mr. Claus takes off.
That's awesome. And I love how they do it at different military bases. When I was in Panama City years ago, that was my first shop in news. They had the Tyndall Air Force Base, and I got a chance to take a look around, and it's quite the experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a really cool look because you get to take a look at some of the different equipment that's also used. So it's always fun to kind of show off, hey, we're going to be doing this tracking, but at the same time, here's kind of a look at kind of our behind the scenes that we can show the public.
It really shows the fun side to being in the military.
Yeah.
I really love too that I want to say someone you talk to, and this is kind of a sneak peek to what we'll see later tonight, it kind of runs in the family.
Yeah, I got to speak to a sergeant who had that time with her father, so it was really cool to see how that kind of went through the past generations.
Yes, and you'll learn more about that tonight on FOX54 News at 9.
Now, the Tennessee Valley's certified most accurate forecast from the FOX54 Weather Impact Team.
All right, we have some gray sky here in Huntsville, but that was pretty much throughout all of the Tennessee Valley. And we got some rain. Some rain did come through, but now much of the Tennessee Valley is under a tornado watch, Emily.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm hoping that the cloud cover and the rain that we saw earlier today is going to kind of work in our favor, as it did stabilize us a little bit, but we're still pretty warm out there. We've got just enough moisture in the atmosphere that we potentially could see a very brief isolated tornado. So that's what we're going to watch for as the system progresses eastward. Let's go ahead and jump out to our tornado watch. I'll tell you what counties are included in this. And right now it's Lauderdale, Colbert, Franklin counties, Limestone, Lawrence, Madison, Morgan, and Coleman counties are included within this tornado watch. This is set to expire right around 9 o'clock. So it's mainly areas along and west of I-65. So looking at the radar right now, here is what we're going to be tracking throughout the next couple of hours. So far, the only thing that we have going on right now is a severe thunderstorm warning, and this is for portions of Lauderdale and Colbert counties. They're under a severe thunderstorm warning due to damaging wind gusts. Got a report earlier of seeing wind gusts of around 50 miles per hour. So we're going to watch for that. And that seems like that's going to be the trend as the system moves eastward, is the damaging winds. That's probably going to be our greatest threat as this system progresses. So here's a bigger look, or a look at the bigger picture, and you can kind of see just exactly where all of this rain is located. It's relatively fast moving, I would say. It definitely isn't wasting any time getting in and getting out. This is right around 8 o'clock, so we'll probably be seeing rain here in the Huntsville metro by then. And then, of course, as we get closer into the 10 o'clock hours, notice how it's already starting to cross the Alabama-Georgia state line. There could be a little bit of light rainfall back behind that frontal boundary, but For the most part, any severe weather threat that we're going to have out of this is going to be coming right now through that main first line that I showed you earlier. So we'll clear out early for Friday morning, and Friday morning we'll start to see some sunshine. Temperatures in the low 60s for the most part all across the Tennessee Valley. We're sitting at 60 here in Huntsville, Pulaski, Athens, Florence sitting right at 62 degrees, but tomorrow it's going to be feeling a whole lot different. We'll be waking up to the mid-30s, but notice heading into the afternoon, we're only expected to warm into the mid and upper 40s for the afternoon tomorrow. So we've got one more blast of cool air before we get warm just in time for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Now, once you factor in our wind chill values, yeah, our temperatures might be sitting in the mid-30s, but wind chill values are expected to be in the lower 20s, upper teens in some locations. So it's going to be really, really cold tomorrow morning. So if you've got to get out and about early tomorrow, definitely want to make sure that you're bundled up. So heading into Christmas Eve, we'll expect to see mostly cloudy sky. High temperature going to be right around 69 degrees. Heading into Christmas Day, it's basically just a copy and paste of Christmas Eve. The only exception is we're going to see a little bit more sunshine heading into Christmas Day as well. Now we have small rain chances for both of those days, but it's really 10%. So I have a feeling that as we get closer to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, I'll probably be able to take those rain chances out of the forecast. But when I was making my forecast earlier this afternoon, a few of those models were trying to bring a little bit of rainfall into the Tennessee Valley. But for the most part, the next best chance for rain looks like it's going to be coming on Monday of next week, and it's only about a 30% chance for rain. So here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll be in the upper 40s for tomorrow, mostly sunshine, and it looks like rain will return by about Monday of next week. And then looking ahead into Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, high temperatures will be nearing 70 degrees for both afternoons.
All right, media members meeting with the UNA Athletic Department to discuss the future of the Lions. We got more from Florence next.
Fox 54 Sports is sponsored by Alpha Insurance.
The North Alabama football team turning in another disappointing season, ending the year with a 2-10 record and just one win over a Division I squad. Despite the continued struggles, UNA Athletic Director Dr. Josh Looney standing by head coach Brent Dearman, saying he will remain at the helm in 2026. Today, the Lions holding an end-of-the-year press conference, and Looney further explained things on his decision and why Dearman described what it means for the administration to have your back.
You have to go back to what was the state of the program when I committed, and multiple year progress and commitment to Brent Dearman. And as he delivered on all those, yes, with the exception of the wins on the field have not been where either one of us has wanted.
Just a short story here. My wife takes my kids to meet Santa Claus at the president's house 2 weeks ago, or however long it goes, and to have the president and his wife hug my wife and say, "We're behind you." I mean, that means so much to our staff and our players to have the backing of the administration here.
And we have learned that the first ever football game at Bank Independence Stadium on the college level will kick off during week 3 of the 2026 football season. The UNA Lions will host Alcorn State on Saturday, September the 19th. Moving over to the UFL, A.J. McCarron is entering the world of coaching. The former Alabama quarterback, who was a part of 3 national championship teams in Tuscaloosa, was hired to be the head coach of the Birmingham Stallions. He's going to replace Skip Holtz. Now, McCarron spending 8 seasons in the National Football League, and then he also spent 2 years in the UFL as the starting quarterback of the St. Louis Battlehawks. Coming up tonight in sports at 9 on Fox 54, we'll have another preview of the college football playoff game between Alabama and Oklahoma. Kanisha.
Yes, Mo, coming up tonight on Fox 54 News at 9, Congressman Robert Adderholt joined Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for an announcement on proposed federal actions involving gender-affirming medical procedures for minors, how this could impact you. Some customers aren't too happy about the Toyota Field Light Show prices. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman gives us the scoop. And we're a week away from Christmas Day. Tonight at 9, we'll take you to Redstone Arsenal and show you how they're tracking the big guy's arrival. Before we let you go, Powerball's jackpot approaching its highest of the year. No one won yet again in yesterday's drawing, which means the estimated pot for Friday's drawing is expected to hit $1.5 billion. The record for the year is nearly $1.79 billion. Still, a single winner would get way more money because that jackpot was split between 2 tickets. No matter how big the pot gets, the odds of winning stay the same. A staggering 1 out of 292 million.
Oh, only 1 out of 292 million. Just 292 million.
Well, are y'all still getting a ticket?
No.
I mean, I may go across the line and go get one. It's not too far away from where I actually live to go get a ticket.
I keep saying I'm gonna get one, but now that I know there's another chance, I might just do it.
Last time I drove across the state line, I ended up buying 80 tickets, not just for myself. My family was included. None of us won, so I'm not wasting my time. So
I hear you.
I don't know. Let's get one final check on our forecast, though, because we do have a tornado watch in effect until 9 o'clock.